Omid, great to see you. Thanks for making a bit of time. I know you're busy with all those contracts we were just talking about, so I know you've got a lot on your plate at the moment. So thank you for making a bit of time to come and have a chat with us. I wanted to start the interview by asking you about something that you said to me a few weeks back now, whenever it was that
Yeah.
we spoke, and you said uh, we were told that we couldn't do this.
Mm.
Now, why did they tell you that you couldn't do it, and what is it that you couldn't do that you're now doing?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on, Paul. Yeah, it's great to be here. So it's a really interesting point why we were told. My co-founder David, two sort of middle-aged men in gifting sector, um, which is obviously the probably not the demographic that use gifting as much as women. But we were told, quite frankly, by a female founder in gifting, just said that you guys won't succeed. Quite harsh and blunt when you're two guys with big wide eyes and we're going to change the industry.
Yeah.
To be told that quite early on, so that was quite an eye opener into.
But presumably it spurred you on.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
tell
always see
us,
these things as a superpower as opposed to a negative.
yeah. So tell us about. I mean, you're in the world of gifting. I mean, tell us about the proposition. I mean, tell us what you do exactly, because it's a particular
Mm.
type of approach that you've got, isn't it?
Yeah, so just the basic premise of what Present is we are a digital gifting marketplace, and one of our products is a C2C gifting app. So it's someone's birthday, and you don't want to just send them that WhatsApp "Happy Birthday, buddy" message because you've forgotten and Facebook's told you today. Um, you couldn't send a moon pig because you had to send that 2, 3 days ago. Plus, you don't even know what their address is.
Right.
And Amazon will send it, but it will come in a horrible big cardboard box. And again, you don't know their address, and it might be delivered tomorrow, which is too late. So, what Present does, it's a standalone app. We've got about 200 high street brands all signed up, hundreds of products from their inventory, and you can choose one, add a video message, and send it via text message. So the actual gift is sent in 15, 20 seconds. I could send you something like one of our biggest sellers is like a coffee and cake from Costa Coffee. I can send that to you via text with a message saying, "Hey Paul, happy birthday, blah blah blah."
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll receive the text message with the link, unwrap the gift, bit of fanfare, confetti comes down, so gamification. You'll see the coffee and cake, where to go and get it, and then the video message from me saying, just send you some many happy regards. You will then go into, in that experience, you'll go into Costa, say, "Can I have a coffee and cake, please?" Scan at their till, they give it to you, and then hopefully you'll say thank you back, closing the loop of gifting. So we looked at where the bottlenecks were, when someone's birthday, or what do they want, what size are they, all these things, and try to make the sending flow really easy. Um, and more in the world that we live in, because gifting was very much Victorian, you know,
Yeah.
it's been the same for hundreds of years, and that is brilliant. And we're not looking to replace, Christmas Day with everyone sending digital gifts. But the way we are, our work is taking us further away from our hubs. We're working across the world, and we're busy. Our network is bigger, but we know more people than ever, and it's just trying to keep on top of that. So we're just trying to keep that love and generosity going,
Yeah.
and not be downgraded to, a WhatsApp, which is a brilliant product, but it's not the tool for gifting.
Yeah.
Um,
And let me ask you,
mm,
I mean, I think it's a great proposition. I mean, apart from the fact that some people have told you that you wouldn't be able to make it work, where did the idea come from? Because it's quite an interesting sort of take on the gifting angle.
yeah, so my background's in product design. So I've designed, God knows, I don't know, 70 or 80, physical products. So companies used to come to me in my career and say, "We need this. How does it happen?" And give me a cup of tea, a piece of blank paper, and a pen, and I'll create a design and get that from concept to physical in the world reality. So something solving challenges, especially for humans through design and innovation, is something that just I've realised it's my natural ability. It's can be a curse sometimes because I can go into someone's house and start opening door handles and think, "Why is that handle like that?" And my wife's like, "Oh, just let him be." He's thinking. And it came out of that pure frustration. Like when Facebook came along, it kept reminding me of people's birthdays, but trying to get a gift was still quite difficult. Even if I had to go on to a website and do it, I still had to create an account. I had to text them what's your address, which ruins the price. So I was just trying to figure out what's the bottlenecks of me that keeps going to WhatsApp and sending that happy birthday gift with a dancing cat, and how to reverse engineer that and create a digital product in that world. So it was there in my mind for about 2010, 2011. And then on the commute to work, I just see everyone buried down in their phones all the time. And I'd just be thinking, there's got to be something in this where we can marry it all up. And that was the genesis of it. And we started like with my co-founder, Dave. It was his birthday. And I was like, I mean, that's the perfect example. What would I do in real world? I'd take him out for a pint and buy him a pint.
Yeah.
So that was it. Like, how could I send him a pint via text?
I was about to say that. I mean, presumably you can send somebody a pint
We've
with
got pints.
or something, you know.
We've got pints in store, and it can be home delivered as well. So yeah, if you
Oh.
just want to buy them a small micro gift for like, well, I say pints are cheap, but they're not anymore. But you can send them, gifts from like £15 and under, or you
And
can
can
send
you
them
do
something.
it just in the UK or can you do it abroad?
So we've got 4,000 global brands that we're building, and we're ready to go. It will come maybe end of this year. So we're planning,
Right.
depending on what things go. But that is the plan. So for me personally, I've got 11 aunts and uncles, so I've got family. Only like 2 of them are in the UK, so I've got cousins all around the world. And my cousin, she had a baby 2 years ago, and she's in Melbourne. So it's like, trying to send the baby grows, which were like 15 quid, with a nice card. The postage was like more than the present, and it took 3 weeks, or not 3, maybe 2 weeks to get to her, customs and all that. It's just not what gifting's about. So what we're building is the ability to be able to, okay, it'll tell me it's Paris's birthday down in Australia. Why not just send her a little gift? I can go around the kitchen table with me and my kids and say, happy birthday, Parisa. Here is, and the app will know the local brand to her, so it will geotag. Let's say I'm going to send her I don't know, a lunch. It will say, I don't know, Aussie Burger Shack, which is two rows away to her. The app will fill that gap in. It'll do give suggestion on the AI learning for her and what she's liked and curated, and then we can just send it delivered within 15, 20 seconds. She'll get the notification, all the nice sounds and the haptic feedback from the app, that we try and digitize the real world emotions into a physical product.
It's great. And I think the other thing that strikes me about it is it's very timely, as you said. I mean, lots more people are working remotely. People have got families that are spread all over the world in a way that they probably wouldn't have done 100 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends, for example, have all got, all over the place.
Yeah.
Something like this is very convenient. So I totally get why it's a great proposition. Let me just ask you, I mean, presumably this process is creating mountains of data. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the data play that sits behind? I mean, I can see it's great for me to send a present to somebody. I get that. What's the data play that is going to emerge as a result of all this info that you're collecting?
Yeah. So I'm a pure product guy. So my whole thing is about making things work. So my motivation isn't a data harvesting company or anything like that. I'm so far away from that. Our actual element is to protect all the user data and never ever sell to any third party. It's there to make your life and create, connects your heart to someone else's in the easiest format. That's what we use the data for, is to know, okay, is your friend's having a bad day or something, maybe you want to send them something. What gift can you use? And the app can then suggest, you know what, your friend Sally, she's having a bad day. These are the gifts she's really liked before. That data can then be suggested to me.
You can enhance the gift, if you like.
We can enhance the gift, and then we can use that data with the brands that we've got in the app. We can get their gift suggestion and use their data to say, right, what is the best gift for the average 30 to 40-year-old female? We can use our data and their data to collate and curate the best catalogue. So that's the way we use the data,
and I
which
think
for me is really exciting.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point that you've made there, because you're using the data to make the customer's experience better, not to send off to people that want to advertise.
No, exactly, and
yeah,
and I think if you make a good product, the success and all the money and stuff that that's not why we're doing it. That will come. For me, it's having the best product in the people's hand or in their pocket. That's the core to this.
Yeah. Now I know you're at relatively early days. I mean, what do you give us a flavour of the direction of travel? I mean, what are you building towards? I mean, where do you want to get to with this?
Yeah, world domination and all that.
Okay, another one of them, right? Okay,
Yeah,
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah. It's all about the money and the data set. Now, I think where we're trying to get to, personally, for me and Dave, we're just trying to make our mark in the world.
Yeah,
We've had a few successes, a few failures with other companies, as we all do. But this could be our sort of yeah, our Sergeant Pepper album, if it were.
yeah,
So that's what we want to do. We want to. I want to go and hear someone say, "Oh, I've got a present in a queue." That's what I want to hear. That's why I'm building this. And if I can hear that, the social adoption of this product
yeah,
in in UK, Europe, hopefully the world, that will be something I'll be really proud of. That'll
yeah,
be the handover where whether we take it there or not, I don't know. Um, and I don't like forecasting too far down, more than
yeah,
18 months down the road because a war kicks off or you get a bad, leadership in the government. There's so much. So I like to, a year to 18 months. But that'll be where we're aiming for.
yeah, yeah. And the other thing I love about it is that there's so much stuff at the moment that is about tearing people apart, about getting getting people at each other's throats.
Mm,
I mean, the thing I love, when we first spoke about this, I remember coming away thinking, God, that is such a nice
mm,
proposition. It's a really nice way to encourage people to give their friends and family gifts.
mm,
Which is such a nice thing to do. I know we all
mm,
do it at Christmas and whatever, but you can do this any time of the year, can't you?
mm,
And I just thought that's such a, I mean, compared to all the other stuff on social media, I just thought it's a really nice, gentle,
mm.
friendly, just appreciative proposition. I thought it was a lovely idea.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we call it the happy app because all the other apps are just taking your attention away for the company's own profit, your
Yeah,
data. It's just costing you hours of your life, and you come out and you think, what would I get out of that? Whereas with our app, you're using it because it's a love tool. It's literally just saying, and what I thought would be a complete birthday gifting tool is far from it. It's almost become a love language through gifting and micro gifting and different other elements. Because about 60 to 63% of our gifts are not for birthdays, not for Mother's Days, not for
right.
Christmas. They're people react saying, well done on that job today. Here's lunch for you and your family, which we see a lot like business leaders using, which is quite nice because it's like saying to your wife or who employee that works for you, saying, take this, buy your husband and kids a pizza, and say, don't worry about having to work late. So it's a real generosity piece that we've sort of seemed
Yes.
to have built, and people are using because it is in our genome to do gifting. It's in part of our DNA. We can't shake it. Every society, every culture does it in their own way. So it's yeah, tapping into that and allowing people
Yeah.
to send those little gifts and here and there.
I mean, I absolutely take your point about the kind of the generosity thing being part of people's DNA. I mean, you certainly see that. The vast majority of
Mm.
people that I've met in my life have been generous and
Yeah.
forgiving. There's always a few people that are not, but most people
Mm.
are. Let me ask you also, though, I mean, and I know you value that.
Mm.
What other values, as it were, of your values have you brought to the process of building the business? I mean, in what other ways have your personal values shaped the way that you've built the business?
I'd say I'm such an optimistic person in innovation. I'm not a big fan of history. I always like to
Right.
see the future, and I know some people love history and that's good, but people always said you've got to really like history. I'm like, I kind of can't attach myself to history in a weird way because I'm just naturally innovative and I like to think about what tomorrow's going to be, what 100 years is going to be like. So through innovation, that's where I just thrive. And I didn't know that until I was about 26, 27. I was training to be an accountant till I just the calculator really pissed me off, and I tried to start to redesign it and understood what design and innovation actually was, and you can study it and get paid for it.
Yeah.
So I say throughout the product and the company is a pure innovation drive. It's striving to be the best possible product for the user and the recipient. That's what we've got to do. We've got to do it better than anyone else. Because there are some companies in like gift card sectors, and they've had a little go at this, but and they're okay, and no disrespect, but I know the people that are running them, and they're not designers or innovators. They're financial, and they do it really well. They know how to build those type of companies. But when it's a consumer piece, you're really looking for that little bit of extra magic. Somebody who really understands what the needs and wants are, and can do a design-led empathy flow through the design for the product.
Now let me take you. Let me just talk about the journey a little bit. So let me take you back to the beginning. So think back to the moment that you decided you wanted to do something about this. I mean, has
Yeah.
it turned out better or worse than you originally expected?
Um, so this was pretty much lockdown. We started to think about it. It cropped up end of 2019, and myself and Dave were having a chat about it.
Right.
And then 2020 rolled in, and we were thinking about it a little bit more, and then COVID kicked in, and then that was it. We thought, well, we can't go out, might as well do something. So Dave went away and just because he would always call me, I'm the dream man. He's like the operations guy and just knows how to make stuff work and basically does all the work. I just come up with the crazy ideas.
That sounds
And he
like
was
a
like,
nice deal.
yeah, exactly. It works for me. So, hence why he's not on the podcast. He's doing the no. He was he tried to go away and do some doodle on it and try and find out why, because it was like such an obvious idea. When you tell people, you can people are like, oh, surely that exists, and just no one had tried it. So that was it. We decided to give it a go, and that was during COVID, and we managed to raise a small amount just after I think the first lockdown. About maybe the second lockdown, about summertime 2020, of 50,000, and built the worst, crappiest version of the app ever, from a development house in India, and it could just about do the bare minimum. But I could send Dave a pint, and he did send me a photo back, socially distanced, with his mask on, in the local pub in Brighton, with a thumbs up. So yeah, that was the first ever present sent. So that was it. So with that, we decided, right, how do we make a proper business out of this, and where does the future? So we sat down and thought about the long play, where this is, potential exit partners, potential funding partners that can help us grow.
Is it better or worse than you thought? I mean, how's it turned out? Is it
Now it's
turned out
much
better?
better, much better. I think before you've even started anything, it's the best thing in the world because you can see the whole plan. Then you actually try and do the plan, and you realize, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought. There have been a couple of times very close to the bone where we, quite honestly, should we call this, and just wind it up.
So
But
you've had a
us,
few. So sorry, you've had quite a few ups and downs, is what you're
oh,
saying. Some of those
loads.
downs have been pretty down.
Yeah, yeah. I think most entrepreneurs that are watching this, or to yourself as well, every week there's no. It's not like just a up and down line that you get with most other roles. If it's your own company, your own vision, it's like there, and that can be in one day. You can get
Yeah,
one email in the morning and then one email in the afternoon. That takes you
yeah.
all over the place. I think where we've really developed as entrepreneurs ourselves in our mind is we still get those emails, but our the way we deal with it, our emotions aren't up and down. They're just like straighter.
Yeah.
So we know how to compartmentalize and not bring those home crying on the bottom of the stairs.
And it's interesting. It's interesting you say that because I think those are the kind of skills that successful entrepreneurs develop. Because
Mm,
if you don't know that when you come into entrepreneur,
mm, mm.
you will soon discover it. And because, as you've just said, it happens
Yeah,
almost every day.
yeah.
You have to deal with it. You have to find a way to deal with it,
Have to
or
find a way. That's
you
key.
go mad.
I think so. And I think the one when you speak to entrepreneurs and you get into that like-minded room and you can chat to everyone,
Mm.
I think you really understand that the resilience that they all have. And that's what's key. And it's not for everyone. And there's nothing wrong with going and getting a job and create a great success. And quite a few times I've wanted to do that. But I think with all entrepreneurs, you're almost unemployable by
Mm.
nature. You just
Yeah.
can't. It's not for you. And I think people are in trying to become an entrepreneur. They don't have that resilience. If they quit at the first speed bump, then they're not going to be able to make the journey at all. So
No.
you've got to be just always on that. And how do you deal with it? And we've had we I went out with Dave and we said, let's get some big hitters around us that we know that have built big companies and just get them to mentor us. So we've somehow managed to take a few quite heavy hitters out, and with a good name drop, one of the guys is called Steve Hewitt, who he was the CEO of Gymshark. So he
Right.
grew it from like 5 million to over 1 billion. And one thing that he always said to us is just like, lads, don't worry, just mourn the losses and celebrate the wins. but give yourself 1 day for the losses. Have 1 day where when that email comes in, hate everyone, go home, go to the pub, just get it all out, sleep. Then the next day, that's it. Wake up and go fix
Move
it.
on. Yeah,
And that's the type of thing we've really developed ourselves as entrepreneurs, and
yeah,
it seems to get us through those dark times.
yeah. Let me ask you, one of the things that's interesting about building a business today is that we're in, for want of a better way of describing it, we're in the kind of age of AI.
Mm.
I mean, what does it mean to you to be a CEO in the age of AI? I mean, how does that play out in your world?
I think it's quite good because it just means like cheaper costs. If I'm being completely crude about it, for us personally, it's transformed a lot of the headcount in the company.
In
Like we
what
were
way?
going to,
In what
because we
way?
were going to look at scaling up the company. Because whenever we do our org chart, we think about, right, we need this person, that person, and then we kind of like speak to our developers and think about, is there any AI tools that can do that automatically? And it can. And because we're a digital company, like we handle no products, we handle nothing. Like we built this company with that purpose. Like we want a company that we don't have to get a load of orders in, take them in a box, seal them up, put a label and put them in a van. We don't need to do any of that. We just direct people to their brands and the retailers' websites or the stores. So, and a lot of that, because it's digital, like tools like Claude can just plug into our admin panel and we can just run the whole thing as opposed to having to hire someone. So it's made us as a company a lot more efficient. And there's some exciting stuff that we can do with the actual product. So under the bonnet, but above the paintwork, as it were, what the customers see of the app, we'll be able to apply some good AI tools for them to make gifting that little bit extra. It's interesting for us.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, the one of the main jobs of the CEO is to build the business, is to figure out how to build the business.
Mm.
That involves a lot of kind of my experience was it's a sort of ongoing decision making process. You kind of go from one decision to another. I mean, how do you feel about making decisions in that kind of environment, or the environment that you're in?
It's I think as the companies grow and the more stakeholders you get involved, you've got to be a lot more focused and drop the shiny magpie,
Yeah,
which I'm quite accustomed to. I can see a lot of opportunity, like most entrepreneurs. Um, this is why myself and Dave work really well together. He can see the opportunity, but he can be a lot more focused from me. So I think we know our roots in the company, and we'll sit down and think, right, this is an opportunity. Is it the best opportunity at the time? If it's really looking, you know what, it could be this, but there's hard work and there's more resource that's going to have to be pulled off this project to that side, then we just drop it. Which sounds quite cold, and
mm.
you almost like, oh, was that the right thing? But it 100% works. And we, again, with the mentors that we've spoken to, have built these massive companies, this is what they apply. Finish more, start less, and we've applied that, and it seems to work for us.
Yeah. I mean, the phrase I have keep in my head is "do less but do it better."
Yeah, 100%.
You know.
It's the one thing you speak to anyone that's done anything or had an exit or had a company that's, not been insolvent. It's literally that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, because you do everything when you first start your company, when you get your little desk on the kitchen table, whatever, it's just you
Yeah.
and that's
Chief
it. And you're doing
Everything Officer.
everything.
I call
Yeah,
it Chief Everything Officer.
exactly. That's 100% right. So it's knowing when to let go of those, and you are the driving vision and making sure that everything is a well-oiled, what's it, cog in the system.
And what would you say is the most, what is it you find most difficult about decision making? I mean, one of the things that strikes me about the age of AI is the pace.
Yeah.
Things go so quickly now, which means that decision making
Mm,
obviously needs to speed up, or you end up way behind, don't you? So,
mm.
what would you say is the most difficult part about making decisions in the kind of environment that we're building in?
I'd say it would be for us, it would be to make sure that the decision's right for present and not for so just to go back a step, we also do a lot of gifting for B2B companies. So
Right.
corporations that want to do gifting through, customer care that like, oh sorry, we mucked up, here's a coffee, and we are present will fulfill it. I think we've mentioned O2 Priority Rewards, so a lot of their gift inventories through us and a few of the other big telcos and energy companies and banks that I can't legally name, but they're going to be doing the same. It's decision making around what's right for us and steering them, because we're dealing with these companies like institution, they're the FTSE 100, and we're telling them no, and making sure that we guide them, and it's having that sort of stern, not sternness, but do what's right for you and not for them. So that's probably been the biggest decision making thing we've had to implement this year as we scaled.
Yeah, yeah, and that can be tough, those kinds of decisions. Nobody likes to tell a customer that they're not getting what they want.
No, exactly.
It's difficult there. And I know you've had quite a lot of successes on the journey. Certainly on the basis of our previous conversation, I was struck by some of the things that have worked very well. How would you say the successes that you've had have influenced or are influencing the way you're going to build the business going forward? I mean, I'm interested in the way success is influencing how you're going to build the business.
I think taking the confidence from that success. There's a lot of time, like people will always, I don't know, tell you that it's impossible or it's very hard, and you're just like, again, there's something deep rooted in all of us entrepreneurs that it might link to some childhood recognition that you're striving for. But when you do have a couple of successes, you realize, and you've had a couple of failures or things that haven't gone your way, you just think, you know what, I can do it and I will do it again.
Yeah.
And for us, it's always been just make shit happen. Just do it. There's no excuses required. And yeah, our success has just come from me and Dave being quite brash and forthright on what we want and going out and getting it one way or the other. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, somebody, I can't remember his name, but somebody came on the podcast a little while ago and said to me that their view is that they trust in action. So whenever they run up against things, they do something, and 50% of the time it works, 50% of the time it doesn't. But,
yeah.
but doing something moves you forward, and I think that which is kind of what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, there's always something. We did have a co-founder that was with us early on in the journey, like very, very like the first couple of months. And it was quick to see that they couldn't keep up to the pace or that thought process. Like, tried this, didn't work, that's it. And like, no, you've tried, you found one way not to do it. That's the mindset. Now you've got to find out how to do it. And I don't care if it takes you 1,000 times, because the thousands of the first will be the one. And that's what you're going to be looking for.
Yeah. And let me ask you about the failures. I mean, you just mentioned that. How have your failures influenced the way you think about building the company?
Great question. I think you learn by it. Again, it's the way you sort of perceive failure. You frame it in a way that's a positive and not the negative. Again, going back to you have that one day where you think, oh Christ, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But then it's that, how do I fix that? How do I now get it to the next level? So it's just making it happen, I think, and using failure. Every time you have a failure, it just sits in the back of your mind. Okay, last time we spoke to these type of people, let's say I'm trying to get a contract, and the person you're speaking to, they're a junior or a senior or a midweight. You think, okay, last time I spoke to them, couldn't get what I wanted from them. It's because of this. Let's try it with a different tact, and it seems to work.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to what you said right at the beginning, really, about being told that you were going to fail and
Yeah,
really weren't going to have that, really. I mean, I think there's definitely
100%. Yeah,
in the
yeah,
mind.
and in our mind, we've manifested this. We can both see this success happening, and it's almost like you can't not let it happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether we're in our late 40s and it's like our last hurrah, but I don't think it's that. I think everything has led to this moment in our careers that this is our Mona Lisa. This is going to happen, and we will make it great one way or the other.
Yeah.
Whether that's crazy, I don't know. It could be just I
And
don't think it was genius.
and what would you say your biggest failure has been, and what impact did it have?
I think when I started, because I started the company and then brought David and brought another co-founder in. So the biggest failure was not knowing how to start a company and say, yeah, we all get equal shares. Didn't know what vesting was or anything like that. And as that grew and the other founder was not really pulling their weight, caused massive problems.
Yeah.
And I've seen that as a massive learning. So whenever I've spoken to people that had decided I'm going to go in with my brother, I was like, I don't care if it's your brother. I don't care what it is. Your brother might get married and go traveling across the world next year. You're staying here in the office. You need to have some sort of governance of the company and, clawback or vestige, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But so that was probably the biggest failure on my side of within the company. other than that, there hasn't been anything catastrophic, touch wood. I'll say that now, and I'll get an email in a minute. Um, yeah, there's been maybe a few, trying to think, maybe legal stuff like that. It's not our vibe, and trying to do it ourselves. And just, yeah, missing things before we had to get somebody who actually got a degree in law and saying, you bloody idiots, this is why we
One
charge.
one of the things that interests me about the way entrepreneurs think and do things is that, I mean, you talk to all of them and they'll say,
Mm,
yeah, I fail at a lot of stuff, make a lot
mm,
of mistakes.
mm,
That is part of the territory,
mm,
which means that, let's say for the sake of argument, at least 50% of the time you're wrong. You might be right 50% of the time, but 50% of the time or thereabouts, you're going to be
mm,
wrong. How do you prepare to be wrong?
mm. Um, well, I'm always right, Paul, obviously. No.
No, I would have never guessed that.
um, now, how do we prepare to be wrong? I think you just like, you set yourself up. We've got three ways of doing something. So, like, trying to give an example, like, we're now looking at how do we build our CRM and basically get people to spend more in the app. So we've got three different ways forward. We've looked at each one from a cost side and a time and resource side, and we've applied it to the best. We've both come to a decision that this route one is the best way to do it. But if that doesn't work out, we then switch to route two and then route three, or route three and then route two, whichever way we see fit. So I think it's just having that. If this doesn't work, what's the next step?
So it's having a
Or
fallback.
it's having the fallback, and I think that's, you want, what the result's going to be, and it's having that thought about process of just making it happen. And I think, yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs are just like, I don't know who said it, but somebody said it's like jumping off a cliff and then building an airplane on the way down,
Yeah,
and it's a lot of that.
yeah, yeah.
So we just try and build
And
the best airplane.
has that changed the way you think about risk? I mean, just to to explain what I'm getting at, I had a really interesting conversation with the CEO the other week, and he said to me, "The risk is not making mistakes. The risk is not exploiting the opportunity,"
Mm,
which I thought was a really interesting take
mm.
on that. I mean, what's your take on on, as it were, risk in the business, and how have your failures impacted on your willingness to take risk and your view of risk?
So I think as the company was smaller, less public eye, less big B2B, enterprise level clients, we were very risky. We would, try stuff, um, and just not really worry about the real thought plans. We'd spend, an hour or two just trying to think out, this is very risky, but it's worth a shot. Now, because we're dealing with big clients, one tiny mistake and that contract goes. So now we do spend a lot more time on the risk and analysis of each opportunity for the company, um, which I kind of think we have to. I think there's other elements of the business where we are a lot more risky. Some will say mavericks, but yeah, we do take chances. But you just need to know when to be risky and when not to be in your own company.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what you're illustrating is the way companies change as they grow. I mean, as you've got
Mm,
bigger and as you've now got clients, you've got to rethink the level of risk and that you're
mm,
prepared to take in some areas. And that's really, I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand that as businesses grow,
mm.
they become more problematic,
100%.
you know.
You get, yeah, more work, more headache,
Yeah.
and probably the same, yeah, dividends at the end of the year. So it's like it's trying to think, do you want to give yourselves more work and more headache? Do you chase revenue and try and build that? But if the end result is okay, you're going to get, yeah, the same amount out of it. Yeah, you just got to look at each of your own companies and think, is it worth it, and why are you doing it?
Yeah. And in terms of your team, how
Mm,
do you, as it were, help your team down that road? You know, because as the company changes and becomes more complex as you grow, you've also got to help your people deal with that. I mean, if you're becoming more risk averse
mm.
for good reasons, you've also got to help your team with that, which is kind of a cultural shift, isn't it? I mean, how have you handled those sorts of things as you've grown?
Yeah, so we've basically taken all the risk assessment out of the teams, and it's only myself and Dave that will apply that, and then we'll guide them on
Right.
that. Because we did have a few people, early employees. They were almost like because they were with us in the smaller earlier days. They were almost thinking like founders,
Yeah.
and we realised, you're not a founder, no disrespect. And that was causing us a few headaches. So we've got this implement where we just want people to do their job and do it to the best of their ability. That's why they're sitting within the company walls. And all the risk is done by myself and Dave.
Yeah. Which I guess is partly one of the things that people don't understand about the difference between
Mm.
founding a business, leading a business, and being an
Yeah,
employee. They're very different things, aren't they?
100%. And we we don't want people to take risks because we've got this like thing. We want to reward all our staff because there's going to be a time when we can reward them, and also if there is an exit, there'll be a time there. So we want them all to come on this journey, but we're not just going to give people, rewards for not doing anything. But if they generally move the needle of the company, they're 100% going to be rewarded. But we don't want them to take that risk to try and benefit themselves. It's all a combined effort.
And as you've grown the business, has there ever been moments when you've thought that the business has outgrown your expertise? And if so, how
All
did you handle it?
all the time. It's almost like me and Dave, like we're now scaling, and we're like we've never scaled a company, but when we've spoken to people that their turnover is 100+ million, they're like they're quite like, I don't know what I'm doing. We've never scaled a company, but we have scaled a company. So a lot of these people have told us, just believe in yourself. So the reason Prsnt is not insolvent and being shut down is because of you guys. A lot of people that can come in, they're consultants, and a lot of people advise against them. I think for us, it's just backing ourselves, and where we don't, we're non-egotistical. We know where our holes are in our armory, and when we need to get someone else in to do the work or help us out on that. I think that can be quite a good bit of advice to anyone building or scaling. It's know your limits, and if you can't do it, that is completely cool. Go and find someone who can. But your job is to know who and if they're the right fit.
Yeah, no, it's about knowing yourself, isn't it? Know what you can do, know
Mm,
what you can't do, and cover that off. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, what would you say you've learnt from being the CEO? Because you've been on a
Um,
journey. Well, I mean, certainly when I came away from our last conversation, I think you must have been on a bit of a journey. I mean, what would you say you've learnt from being the CEO? It's different being
um,
product designer, isn't it?
it's massively different working for other people. I've realised to believe in myself, I suppose,
Right.
which is quite a nice feeling. I've always had people call me a dreamer, or like from school kids, say, "Oh, you're always dreaming," and that always kept me down in my little hole. Again, to the point where in my career I was mid-20s is when I went back to uni to study product design, and just realizing that people do seem to want to work for this mission. So we must be not saying we're visionaries or anything like that, but we hear a lot of people leaving their roles and coming and working at us. This is
Are
much
you
more.
saying that the mission is more important than you first thought to people?
Um, Not necessarily. It's I think the product is required in the world, and we want the people that believe in what we're building to be part of this. But I think for us, in terms of what I've learned, and probably speak for Dave himself, it's just backing ourselves and knowing that what we're doing, the decisions we're making, you can see our accounts have gone from a loss in the first couple of years to turning over profit and doing okay.
Yeah, yeah. And would you say that your view of or your view of effective decision making, would you say that that's changed as you've become, as it were, more experienced in being the CEO?
Yes, and I'd say that is because I think my personal time and resource is limited. So I'm able to make decisions a lot quicker, where I might mull something over for a week or two and always say, yes, let's go for it. It's now very curt. Like it's the why are we doing this? What's the point? That's the key thing I've learned about myself. It was quite interesting. I saw somebody say, yeah, the more important you are in a company, the the shorter your email responses are. And it's like somebody will write an email for like 5, 6 paragraphs. They'd spend ages on it, and then the response from the person higher up will just be like, "Thanks" with lowercase t. So
Yeah.
it's not saying that I'm like that, but it's like, yeah, just being a lot more quicker and focused on what the mission of the company is and whatever decisions we're making. Yeah, get there quicker.
Yeah.
Um, And because people like they need the guidance, they need the answers, and that falls on myself to be able to get there and get there quick, and hopefully not, yeah, cock it up.
Yeah. And are there things that have made you uncomfortable in that? I mean, somebody said to me that being a CEO is about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. I mean, are there things that make you uncomfortable in the role, and how do you deal with those?
Um, yeah, because I think, in all honesty, if I had the perfect role in the company, it probably would be just to sit on the product side, on the consumer side, and
Mm.
just run that and just let someone else be CEO. So there are parts of the CEO role that isn't probably my forte, and it's not my natural fit, but I love doing it and I love trying to put my spin in it, because you look up a lot of other CEOs, and what I've learned, they've all got different personalities, different ways of doing it. So it's not really a one size fits all, and there are going to be some that are amazing and some that aren't so amazing. But I think my view on it is, this is, if I let someone else take over, there's a possibility it goes a bit squiff, and it might take it down the wrong path. They might take it down the right path, but I've heard some horror stories.
And what does that say about you as a leader?
Um, I don't know really. It's a very good question. Maybe I'm a control freak, and maybe I just want it to be my own way. But I think when I came up with this idea, it attracted a lot of people that want to be involved. And the only one yeah, Dave, I trust 100%, and he's brilliant. So this is his company as well. I don't say that. I don't like calling myself the founder of this. I just like, this is our company. We've built it together. Yeah, I just had the very, very slimmest genesis of the idea. Can I send him a pint of beer? But I think me as a CEO, I think I can be a bit controlling potentially, because it's our baby. And I think if we handed it over to someone else, they may implement the skills they have, which is might be from a consultant's point of view, which is the easiest route. I've got to keep my job and just do that. When I think we see this as a bigger play, it's we want this to be a worldwide tool to allow humans to
I mean,
connect.
at some point, I mean, all entrepreneurs want to exit. I mean, even if it's exit by death,
Yeah,
they want out at some point. I mean, do you think that's going to be difficult for you, given what you've just said?
no, I'm not tired. We've been doing this for a good few years now, 5 years now, and really only been going, I'd say, the last year and a half, 2 years. I think before that we were building and testing and sort of didn't quite know where our product market fit was. But like me and Dave, we say like Sunday night is like Christmas Eve. We can't wait for Monday, and that I think that's quite a good thing we're both having. Like, our investors will say, "Are you guys not burnt out? We're paying ourselves a pittance because everything's just going back into the company." So they're concerned that we're just like, "Guys, you're killing yourself, and are you okay? And you're getting no money for it."
Mm.
But we keep saying that we're loving it. This is great. This is the best thing in the world. This is fantastic. We're loving every day coming in and enjoying those ups and downs. I think that's the way we're at now.
Yeah.
We will want to sell this potentially. I think we want to. We don't want to be able to build a rocket and go to space like all the others. It's we just need enough to take some risk off the table, pay for the house, make sure that we can go away with the kids a few times. And I don't think you need hundreds of millions of pounds to do that. From what I've heard of people, you only need a small chunk to do that. So that's what we're going for. But it's not why we're doing it. I think as soon as you start thinking like this is, I've heard founders, my exit plan is going to start this, going to do it in 2 years, and I know who I'm going to sell to, blah blah blah. And I think that defocuses them quite a bit. And I've seen some of them not get the exit they want, and some of them just go out business because I think all they were focused on was that exit. Whereas,
Well, most businesses fail, don't they? I mean, whether
yeah,
or not you thought about the exit at the beginning, I mean, most businesses fail. I mean, that's
yeah,
an unpleasant reality about.
it's hard. It's so
Yeah,
hard.
yeah. But
It's
it's also the
difficult.
thing. I mean, what was going through my mind as you were talking is the addictive nature of entrepreneurship. I mean, I know so many entrepreneurs that are essentially addicted to it because the highs and
Mm,
the lows are so
yeah.
the lows are challenging and the highs are
Mm,
so great. It does
mm.
become a bit of an addiction, I think.
So yeah, we've got about 5 angels. Um, 3 of them have exited their companies,
Yeah.
and their kids are set for life. Let alone them. But they've gone again.
Yeah.
They're in their early 50s, and they're like, just you can't play that much golf. It's
Yeah.
like I need to do something. And I'm saying, well, why don't you do something for charity and stuff like that? I mean, they do stuff for charity, but they love the thrill. They love it. And a few of them have like suggested, if you need me to come work for you, I'll do it. And I'm thinking, you're a senior level, entrepreneur. Do you really want to be down here, in the fire pit? But there's something they love that part of it.
Yeah.
So it is addictive, 100%.
Yeah. And when you look back, if you were starting from scratch,
Hmm.
I mean, is there anything you'd do differently, perhaps, knowing what you know?
Loads. Probably half of it I do completely different.
Give us an example of a couple of things.
So my understanding of how businesses work now, I wouldn't make any mistakes on the governance of the company, the setting up. I'd be a lot more strategic from early on. I'd have everything listed out, written down, and have weekly checks with the team and just make sure everything's on top of it. Because my own mind, I had everything in here, but nobody else knew what was going on. So I was a terrible organizer. And I think you just assume everyone to keep up to your level, but everyone needs some sort of guidance. So that would have been a lot better, the processes around that.
Yeah.
I think I would have been more aggressive in going for what we needed in terms of maybe I should hold back for a couple of weeks or a month, or don't speak to these companies because they might steal your IP and all that, which is, I think, not likely to happen because it's bloody difficult. It'd be another headache for them because you're speaking to decision makers that just they don't want to take risks, they just want to keep their job. So I think, there's loads of things that I think I could, if we're 5 years in, if I started again tomorrow, I think I could get to this point in a year and a half, if I'm honest.
Wow.
So, that's just experience, and that's why, experienced business people, they can command a high fee because they know.
And the gap between 5 years and a year and a half. I mean, what you're saying is you could do it a lot faster.
Yeah,
What is it that you would be able to do faster other than not do stupid things?
I think I'll be able to convince the market to give us the resources required to get there, because we
Right.
did 3 rounds of funding, and that was bloody hard to
Yeah.
go through and to convince people. I think I could do that early on, having the confidence of how these people think on the other side of the desk, the finance guys,
Yeah.
and convincing them and saying the right things they want to hear. So I think funding would be a lot quicker. I would know how to work with development companies, because I'm not a coder. I don't understand coding. I can do basic stuff on the UX and things like that, but under the bonnet, I could knock up prototypes pretty quick now. So I could traverse that. And speaking to the brands, I was very much, again, it was like, oh, should we speak to Marks and Spencer? Like, how do we speak to them? Now we go.
That's an interesting point. I mean, how do you speak to them?
So we, yeah,
flavor.
so yeah, a lot of it used to be just like LinkedIn and requests and that type of thing. And kind of think, what we figured out is we will find the most senior person we know in our network or out there,
Right.
take them out for a coffee, say, who do you know at M&S? And they'll be like, well, I know the CEO. And then they fire it downwards, and that always works. And I just say that to people, just to ask people, like, one advisor we've got, bless him, he's a lovely gentleman. He's very out the limelight, but he exited his company for like 600 million. It was in the film studio space. And yeah, he like fired us into like Octopus Energy, the founder, Simon. And he's like, Simon, speak to Omid and David. And he's like, oh, sorry, I've just been away on holiday. What can I help you with? We need this help. Can we want to do your rewards program? He's like, great. CC straight into thing. And that bypassed months of going through.
It's so interesting you said that. I was talking to somebody who's just written a book about networking the other day, and he said the basic thing people need to understand is it's not what you know, it's who you know. Because if you want to do something, the first thing you should think about is who do I know, and which is what you're basically saying is who's the most senior person that you know that can connect you to what you need.
I never really believed in networking until I started this project.
Right.
It's the one thing I would double down anyone to get into. We've had the biggest success through networking, and who you know is 100% that. One person that says, oh, I'll speak to these guys, and coming from a behavioral science part, if you know someone at company X, you introducing me to them, you have done like 60 or 70% of the due deal on me, and they'll happily, that LinkedIn speech has gone. It's now, let's go and have a pint sort of level. And that's what, through people who you know, is it can do. So I would say that to anyone, just find the most connected people you want, even if it's someone just without stalking them, just find out where their office is and just knock on the office door. If it's a building, say, oh, can I speak to, person X, and just say, look,
Yeah.
you're going to eat lunch today and I'm going to buy it for you. And then I'm going to have half an hour of your time.
Yeah.
We've done that. It works.
I mean, what a great piece of advice to end the interview on. I mean, thank you for that. I mean, I think it's a really valuable piece of advice for people that are perhaps just starting out who don't have
Mm.
the confidence, perhaps, to think about it that way. But you're absolutely right, in my experience. So, I mean, thank you for making a bit of time. Thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for being so open and honest. I mean, I think it's a great proposition, and I love the fact that two guys have done something that some women told them they couldn't do. I mean, I just think that's fabulous, really. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, anyone can achieve anything. That's the key.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and don't let anyone ever tell you you can't do anything, because it's just because somebody else failed, their limitations aren't yours. So
that's
you just
right.
gotta,
Yeah,
go for it.
yeah. Well made point. Omid, thanks for coming on. I'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul.
Cheers. Bye bye.